I went from 120 kilograms down to 70 kilograms and I wasn't happy with my body. Today, I'm going to talk about the truth of significant weight loss. Currently, there's a significant hype around people losing large amounts of weight, GLP-1s and similar to that. However, today what I want to talk about is how that isn't just a one-way trip. In 2017 and 2018, I had got myself to about 120 kilograms. I was really unhappy with my body and I really wanted to make a change. I set myself a goal. I set myself to build the physique that I wanted, to get into shape and feel happy in my body. So I got to work. I lost 50 kilograms over the next few years and I thought, right, that's gonna be it. You know what? I've lost all the weight and suddenly I'm gonna have my dream physique. That wasn't quite the case though. Even though I'd lost 50 kilograms, I hadn't really gained any muscle in that time and I hadn't really worked on myself in other ways. Today I'm gonna talk about the truths of losing all that weight and the things that I experienced that were negative about that. The main negative for me is that I got slightly obsessed with it. I got so excited about losing the weight and watching the scale go down, I wasn't actually looking at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture was trying to achieve the best body that I could. Simply losing the weight isn't the end point. For some people it may be, but for me it wasn't. I wanted to build some muscle. I wanted to look exactly how I'd always dreamed of looking. What I feel like I gave myself was a canvas to work on. I'd lost a significant amount of weight. I was in a position where I now didn't really need to lose too much more fat. And actually, I could start building muscle and start building exactly what I wanted to. So that's precisely what I did, but I didn't do it very carefully. My first fear was weight gain. I'd spent so long trying to lose all that weight that the thought of regaining it terrified me. However, this needed to be done. The way I went about it though wasn't the right way. The issue is that I tried to gain it all back in one really big bulk and that went terribly wrong. I got back up to 100 kilograms. I'd, spent my weekends going and seeing my mates, drinking lots. I wasn't gaining that weight back healthily. While this wasn't the end of the world for things, it was certainly a reality check. Made me realise that my relationship with food wasn't quite as good as I thought it was. I realised I needed to change my goals. I got back on it, I lost the weight again. I then had periods of bulking and cutting, and some of these went terribly. Some of the cuts I couldn't lock myself in and I had too many other things that I was focused on. Some of the bulks I just saw as eat all you want. And I think this is something that when you've lost a lot of weight you need to come to terms with. That actually, although you've done a significant amount of work to lose all that weight, the work actually starts after that to try and maintain that and to try and put on weight slowly again and healthily. Over the last 4 or 5 years I've really dialed that back in and understand my body a lot more. My relationship with food and the gym has improved significantly. I understand my goals, I understand my targets, and understand what I'm working towards. I think my point is, fitness is a lifestyle. It's not simply you lose the weight and it's done and you can completely just give up with it from there. You've got to find the lifestyle and stick with it. I think my overall point in terms of the truths about weight loss is that consistency is key. The scale is no longer as important. It's not simply a game of just losing weight week after week. It's actually about finding a routine and sticking to it. In the same way as I learned that over the long run of losing weight, consistency is key, consistency is also key with regaining that weight. Going to the gym, making small gains on the daily, and keeping yourself accountable is so important. You have to change your goals, you have to change your targets, and you really have to stick with it. Right now, I'm proud of what I've achieved. I've made a lot of progress, I've learned a lot of lessons, and I've made a lot of mistakes. But at the end of the day, realistically, I've achieved what I wanted to achieve. A body that I'm somewhat happy in. While I always thought this would be complete after losing all the weight initially, I realised that actually consistency beats speed completely in all aspects. My day-to-day life now is very much going to the gym, watching what I eat, and building that into a complete lifestyle that I'm completely comfortable with. Finding something sustainable. People often look at it as, here's my endpoint, that's what I'm going to achieve, that's what I'm going to reach, and that's it. That unfortunately isn't quite the case. I feel like the journey of losing the weight is what taught me all the lessons about how to move forward. It taught me the discipline, it taught me the consistency, and now I can use that in other areas of life and also in my fitness. It sounds very boring, very cliche to say that actually the journey is what taught you all the lessons rather than the actual outcome. But I do very much think with weight loss that is the case. If you can nail in your day-to-day life of losing that weight and you can build that consistency, then moving forward with things to try and build that consistency into your regular life, eating at maintenance or trying to regain weight and bulking back up, it's quite easy to do. You've given yourself the ability to keep that consistency, so use it. I don't always think the outcome is precisely what you want. Sometimes you won't be fully happy with what you've achieved, but you've learned a lot of lessons on the way and you need to use that and reinvest that into your long-term future. Long-term weight loss is hard and it's genuinely difficult to get into that mindset. But once you've got that mindset, using it for your long-term physique is so important. Reassess your goals, be consistent and build a long-term future.